Hello, my name is Kevin Byrne, and you are about to see a program called A Conversation with Senator Michael Moore. Senator Michael Moore is our state senator serving the 2nd Worcester District, which comprises Shrewsbury and 6 other communities.
5 other communities.
Oh,
You
I
get-
got it wrong. It used to be 7, then
Yeah,
I thought it was
yeah.
6.
Now with the
and now
redistricting, it's
5. You
a
got
total
one.
of 6.
But you've
Yes,
got all of Westboro now and
yes,
all sorts of places.
yeah.
And as I said, I'm Kevin Byrne. Um,
You get that right every
I
month.
said it all backwards today, okay? And I live in Shrewsbury. I've lived in Shrewsbury for 1,000 years. How are you, Senator Moore? It seems like forever that we haven't been able to sit down at the same table at the same time, you and me. But Mark, who's now, oh, Mark, we are we are taping this on Patriots Day. The marathon was this morning.
And actually, do we know who won?
I don't know who won the marathon because I did not watch a ton of it. And I'm a Channel 5 news freak,
Okay.
which is ABC News. I love all the local guys and all that sort of stuff. They have been pumping this and promoting this forever. And the thought of 30,000 people, running down all sorts of streets in Boston, does nothing to me. I understand the community aspect of it, and it's an accomplishment that I could never in my life ever uh, fulfill.
And,
I
and
couldn't.
fulfilling it at some of the speeds that some of these people
And
run this race.
Speeds doing it at two something.
Yeah.
That sort of
It's
thing.
amazing.
But in any event, it's a holiday in the entire Commonwealth of Massachusetts, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Things were closed
Yeah.
today, and we are at this wonderful studio down on Parker Road, and we have running this program for us, making sure it works appropriately. Mark Serra, who really and truly is in charge of this whole operation, and he's the only person here other than you and me at the moment. And this water that Liz usually brings us was brought to you by the general manager. I'll have to figure out what his title is. General manager, commander, chief, president of something of Shrewsbury's Public Access. Anyway, what's going on? You have been busy all over the place. Your name is in the newspaper dealing with all sorts of articles. And as I said, I'm a Facebook peeper. You have wonderful coverage showing all of the places you are and all of the ribbons that you cut, but more importantly, all of the people that you talk to all over your district.
No, it's been busy. It's really
Unbelievably busy.
Yeah.
Plus, you guys under the Golden Dome now are really working.
Yep, no, we got some things coming out.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie, wish we had addressed some of them earlier, but but now we've gone to the budget. We've had some
We're cooking.
comprehensive bills come out. We got the budgets coming out,
Right.
but we still have
So many issues.
we've got the housing bond bill to do. We've got an economic development. We've got an economic development bill, an IT bond bill.
Right.
So the question is going to be, what can we get done by July 31st?
Yeah.
And some of the bills that we've already done, we've got an early ed bill, we've got a gun bill, we've got a healthcare bill. They're all in conference. So,
Right.
and actually, we got some of the things we're going to talk, like a revenge porn bill, that's in conference now. So,
Still in con?
yeah, so we got
Okay.
hopefully these things will
All right.
be worked out and we can get them onto the
Okay.
governor's desk.
Let's since we got your communications director, who is Mr. Mutafian. Did I say it?
Very
right?
good, yes.
Alex. I said your last name, and I pronounced each of the syllables so that the Irishman can say Mutafian. Okay. I don't want to say it sounds like an after-dinner drink, but I wouldn't do that. But I got 13 pages, okay, down from 18. The first thing I want to talk about that's going on. May 21, Massachusetts Senate unanimously passed an act to prevent abuse and exploitation, bipartisan legislation dealing specifically with something euphemistically called revenge porn.
Yes.
Okay, and some tuning up that had to be done with a statute that was already there to some extent, or was this all brand new?
Oh, this is all brand new.
Okay, all right. Tell me about it,
So,
because this is important.
this is actually, this is, what I just said, this was passed by the House.
Yeah,
They sent a version over to us, so we tuned up their version.
that was
So-
that. I guess that's what I was wondering.
Yeah,
Okay,
so,
you tuned it up.
Yeah, we tuned it up. We hopefully made it a little,
Clear.
little better, hopefully, and hopefully we'll be able to work out the differences.
You got
So
it.
basically, what it does is it would criminalize the sharing of sexually explicit images or videos without an individual's consent.
Right.
So that's where it's known as revenge
These are
porn.
these are things primarily that are on social media.
Yes.
That somebody gets mad at somebody and shows them naked, shows
Or
pictures.
or just people sending it. One person got photos of someone and sends it to other people. Not even.
and all of a sudden, everybody in the world.
Yes. Then it goes. Yeah. Then everyone has it.
Embarrassing, and there's no way to get rid of it. I know they can take it off Facebook and all those other things, but it's still around all over the
Yes.
place,
Yep.
right? It's terrible, it really is. And
Ah.
you've heard of many cases of it, okay?
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, actually,
know-
there was an issue with Taylor Swift. That's more of what they call a deep fake.
Yeah.
That's where they put her image, her face on the body of someone else,
Of somebody else.
and then that goes
Right.
viral.
Right.
So,
And
but
there also will start to be a lot of political stuff involved.
well, we're waiting for those. We're actually waiting for that to come out. There was an incident just before this was passed in the House
Right.
involving President Biden.
Yeah.
There was a phone call that was
Right, phony,
Yeah.
totally phony.
Yep, phony phone call that went out to
Okay.
people telling them not to vote. So this basically would ban the unlawful distribution of that. It also creates, then this is new to Massachusetts for domestic abuse.
Yeah.
The definition or violation or act, if you want to call it, of coercive control. So this is a piece of legislation that actually I have filed that when the House was looking at the bill coming out of committee, they realized that this basically actually revenge porn fits the whole concept of what we're trying to do, because coercive control. Look, we all know when someone's abused, you got the physical aspect.
You what?
The physical aspect,
Yes,
the
right.
beating, the scaring, the threats
Right.
of bodily injury. This actually is using the threat of certain means to control someone. So you could have someone sitting there, hey, I have photographs of you. If you don't agree to this, we're going to do this in our divorce settlement, or we're going to do this.
Right.
So this
It's called revenge blackmail.
yeah. So that's a new concept in Massachusetts. So that's another thing that we did on this is we added for juveniles that if you're caught with a revenge porn, if you're doing this,
Yeah.
of an educational component,
Okay.
so that the student then learns what the ramifications are. They have to would have to go to an education class, and the student would actually learn what the
Okay.
effects of this could be to people's lives. And
And it has such a terrible effect.
so this would require the child advocate to develop an educational diversion program for adolescents
Yeah.
on the consequences of sexting and sharing explicit images of themselves and others. Directs the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to encourage school districts to implement instruction on age-appropriate media literacy, and then it legally defines coercive control as a single act or a pattern of behavior intended to threaten, intimidate, control, or compel compliance of a family or household member that causes fear of physical harm or a reduced sense of physical safety.
All right, great.
And the definition allows for victims to seek a restraining order and/or criminal prosecution of against the abuser, and the fines can range from $1,000 to $5,000.
All right, that is really something. Okay, now, House passed it a while ago. You guys have tuned it up. It's now in conference.
It's now in conference.
Okay, which means three of each side get
Yep.
together and figure out how do we iron this out?
So when I spoke to
All right,
the main
tell-
when I spoke to the main sponsor of the revenge porn,
Yeah.
he felt confident that they would be able to come to an agreement on this pretty easily.
Good.
But we'll have to see now.
All right. Okay. All right. That would be good. Lots of other stuff that have been going on, but one thing that I think is so important. Last time, we talked about the necessity of all the stuff you were doing with cyber control, cyber security and stuff like that. You are to be congratulated because you're continuing to work with that. Is the passage, hopefully, or the passage of something called the SAFER, SAFER, SAFER Act, okay? And it deals with guns,
Yes.
gun control in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Even though ironically, we appear to be one of the safest states in terms of gun violence, there's still so much of it around. And, when you hear locally over the last few weeks of young people having automatic weapons who are out shooting people, firing, 20, 30 bullets into the sides of cars and occasionally into the sides of people, that it's still there. But Massachusetts is doing well with tuning up our laws. Talk about this.
So
You had a lot of amendments.
got a few that I was able to get through.
But more, give us an overview of
So basically, what we tried to do, the House actually passed a bill, but 140 pages. We reduced it to 35 pages.
140 to 35.
So we think we've concentrated it to the items that really need to be addressed.
Okay.
So what
Okay,
we-
so the House did that this year, this session?
yes,
Yeah,
this session.
Okay.
So there are some significant differences, but there are also
Excuse me. The House can't do anything in less than 100 pages. You know that.
yeah, but there are some.
Mariano, my friend.
Yeah, there are some that are pretty similar. So what we did is we both versions did ghost guns. So ghost guns is where 3D printed gun.
Yeah,
So there's no unserialized, no knowledge or record of the gun being made.
absolutely.
Or a ghost gun can be where you sit on the computer or
Right.
call different manufacturers and then you assemble a gun.
Right.
Again, it's put together, no record of it, record of the firearm. So we regulate that.
I got to tell you, every so often when I hear something like that, and I heard a description of it on a television program or a radio program or something about how 3D works with all of this sort of stuff. Having graduated from Boston College with a degree in English literature, okay, I don't have a clue how you can accomplish something like this. This is my own lack of education. I went into the science building at Boston College once for one semester, and they never saw me again. Anything that dealt with math, science, anything,
And it's
a failing, okay?
and it's only going to get, depending on your opinion, it's only going to get better or worse because technology is advancing such a rapid pace right now.
Absolutely.
So we did ghost guns. We also codify.
And when you say you did it, it's to outlaw them.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. All right.
So for those
all
who own and possess unserialized, untraceable firearms, that's the ghost guns.
Okay.
We also did assault weapons. Codifies Massachusetts' existing prohibition on assault weapons, and we basically there's also I'm forgetting the term. It's the grandfather protections that the Attorney General had established back in 2016.
Okay.
So we
That was you that tagged it.
yes,
on.
that was my amendment that added that on.
Which is, if you have an assault weapon,
That meets this definition, it's still legal for you to have it.
okay,
Because the fear was that we now had all these individuals who were following the law that met this grandfather provision,
Right.
that if we pass this, all of a sudden they're going to be going from legal gun owners
Okay.
to now they're going to be illegally attaining
okay.
in
All right.
possession of these.
All right.
So we did that. We also did. We also
So what do
banned.
we do with all the ones that are still there? All right, never mind.
So we,
I understand.
So we did. We also right now, federally, it's illegal to own a Glock switch. So a
Yeah.
Glock switch and trigger activators. So what this is, you take your firearm, your handgun,
Yeah.
semi-automatic, and you can actually you can make it through a 3D printer, or they can purchase it somewhere. And it's being made illegally, and you
Which is
put this into the gun, to the
Yeah.
clip of the gun,
Right.
and it turns that handgun, now semi-automatic handgun, into an automatic weapon.
Okay.
So now we will be consistent with
Which
federal law.
apparently are around. And
Yes. So
police are finding people with these things.
yeah, Worcester.
So you
Worcester-
have a 6-shooter or a 9-shooter or whatever it is, and you can make it into.
You just pull that trigger once and it just
and it
keeps
just
on shooting.
keeps shooting.
So Worcester Police had actually reached out to me last spring.
Yeah.
And they had, at that time, they had told me 7 out of 10 last drug raids that they had performed, when they went in there, the individuals actually had Glock switches there.
Wow.
So even though it was banned federally, it's already banned federally.
Oh,
but-
okay.
But
There is something that's banned federally.
yes,
Okay.
but the local police couldn't enforce it because it wasn't banned in state statute.
Right.
So that's Glock switches, and we call trigger activators. And trigger activators basically is the same thing. It's a device that could be made that could turn a weapon into a semi-automatic into an automatic.
Okay.
We also did with silencers. Federally,
Yeah.
they had a federal definition of what a silencer is.
Right.
We had one in the state level. The state definition was different from the federal definition. And this is actually another one of my amendments that we actually worked on with the Attorney General's office. We matched the federal and state definition, so there's no confusion of what a silencer is.
Okay.
So we codified that. We also updated the red flag law, and
Yeah,
this is the extreme risk.
That is so important. I love this language.
So we actually now
Healthcare professionals can
Yes.
petition the court to remove firearms.
yeah. So our version just adds healthcare professionals. The
Yeah.
House version added there's a whole list of other people.
Okay.
So I don't know where that compromise is going to come in.
Okay.
There was an issue with inspections of gun dealers.
Yes.
A lot of gun dealers, local municipalities weren't inspecting the gun dealers.
Right.
A lot of it just had to do about the resources.
Yeah.
So we actually allow the local municipality to continue to do the inspections.
Yes. If
Unless
they don't or they can't.
Right, then they can
State-
have the state police do it.
State police does
Right.
it. That
So-
is so important.
Yeah, so that's,
A couple of facilities somewhere on the North Shore that was an entire warehouse, like a bazaar of booths where you could go in and buy any kind of gun that you wanted, but more importantly, any part of a gun that you want.
Yeah.
And one of the deals was, I'm going to pick on Littleton, I think was the place, but I may be wrong, and I apologize to Littleton if I defamed them. Nobody was inspecting them because whatever the community had 3 police officers
Yeah.
and no population except this warehouse.
so this basically the concept is, look, we're letting the local municipality do it.
Yeah.
If they determine they don't have the resources to do it, they can
Yeah.
work and let the state police do it, work
Right.
with them. We also, harassment orders, protect survivors of harassment orders by requiring courts to compel the surrender of firearms
Yeah.
for an individual who's has a harassment protection order against them.
Okay.
We did sensitive places. Now, there's a big difference between the House and the Senate versions here. This prohibits the carrying of firearms in government administrative buildings, with the exceptions of law enforcement officers. Now, what we did here, the House version just bans them.
Just what?
The House version just makes it illegal
To have a gun.
in a government administrative building.
Well, police, including police.
So town hall,
Oh, okay.
a library.
Sure. Okay.
But what we did because we have municipalities, some more in the urban areas that obviously people may not be wearing firearms or have them, but you go further west, you have hunters, you have other recreational sportsmen. We allow the municipality to opt out. So the local legislative body So if this law goes into effect, if our version goes into effect, it's illegal to be in possession of one in a government building. The local municipality
This
then,
is government administrative building.
Right,
What does that mean?
town hall,
Oh, any place. Oh,
yeah,
libraries and
yeah,
stuff
public
like that.
building, yeah.
All right.
So, but we give the local municipality the option to opt out of that. So say the town of Shrewsbury says, hey, look, no, we don't want, we think that's too restrictive. You at your town meeting can pass something at the local level and opt out of this requirement.
Right.
So we give the local municipality a little control in determining whether they think this is too restrictive or not.
Why would they think it was too restrictive?
You
I
have
don't
some-
know,
yes.
that's me talking. Okay.
So you have
And these guns that you can
Yes.
tuck away?
yeah, concealed, yeah,
Concealed weapons?
yeah.
Okay, all right,
So
okey dokey.
and then we also have mental health and gun licensing, ensures that firearm licensing has authority to information about an applicant's history of
All right,
involuntary
and the
mental health.
Firearm Licensing Authority is still local,
Yes,
local police,
yes,
okay.
yep.
All right.
Then there's
So
data collection
They can get records that,
of
information.
involuntary mental health hospitalizations.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Which you sincerely hope that whoever the licensing authority will have access to, well, they could get. So this is an addition? This wasn't the law before?
No.
Wow, okay. All right.
So, data collection creates a robust data reporting analysis mechanism for guns used in crimes, suicides, attempts.
Right.
So this is actually a big thing, because we have, and rightfully so, you have licensed gun owners that come back with the response that look at the crimes being committed and the deaths. Those aren't licensed gun owners, that legal licensed gun owners that are committing these crimes.
Right.
But we didn't have any data
Right.
showing what was from a licensed gun owner, legally licensed gun owner,
Right.
and not.
Right.
So this is now going to be able to establish the data to
Right.
show
Right.
if, in fact, what guns and who is committing the crimes with the guns and what types of guns are
Okay,
being.
all right. If somebody comes and applies for a gun, you certainly hope the investigation would concern in finding about their background as best you can. Now, that's a liberal Democrat talking who should be saying, we've all got a right to privacy, we know, okay? And government shouldn't be able to get into all of our information.
But if you've got a gun used in a crime, you
Right.
would think.
Right, right.
Yes.
Exactly.
So you would think that this is something that would have been already being done.
You have a right to find out whether I have vision when I'm applying for a license, okay? And somebody said, well, you shouldn't have that information, okay, because it's private. Okay. Sometimes there is hopefully a give and take, especially with guns.
So then we also we also have an emerging firearm technology commission, and this is to study emerging firearm technology with particular focus on products and features that could increase safety. So basically, do you ever hear of smart guns, smart technology?
Allegedly, I've heard about it. I have no idea.
Okay, so what it is, you have your firearm,
Yeah.
or it's biometric operated, so that it matches the biometric to the shooter, the owner of the gun. So
okay.
I could give you my gun if you're not on there,
And
you
you
can't
can't
fire it.
Oh,
So
okay.
this is to look at
Okay. It's
other
like,
safety.
I can't get into my wife's smartphone because I don't know what the code is. Okay.
Or for the facial technology,
Yeah. Right. No, it's
facial
just another
recognition,
issue, right.
in theory.
All right.
So those are some of the things we did. We also did the Healthy Youth Act.
What's that?
That is the sexual health education,
Sexual health.
age appropriate. So
Oh, you'd be on guns.
yes,
Oh, you're talking about something else.
yes, we've gone beyond guns now.
Okay, but let me tell you about guns.
Okay,
And I have to say this because I don't know if I've ever said it to you or said it to anybody who's ever asked. I do not own a gun. I have never owned a gun. I never want to own a gun. Okay, I've had no reason. I had a father who was a police officer. He had guns in the house. I never had a clue where they were. I'm not even sure my father had any clue where they were because he was a railroad police officer, but he
Okay.
had guns, okay? The only time in my life I've ever fired a gun is my oldest daughter, Melissa, was in the Air Force for 8 years, 7 years, 8 years. She was a small arms specialist in the Air Force. Small arms specialist. Her job was to train and certify air people, mostly the officers who didn't have a clue about guns because they were looking at airplanes, not at guns, but they had to learn all that sort of stuff. And I went down to visit her at one point, and she said, "Dad, I'm going to take you over to the range, and I'm going to show you how to shoot a gun." And she did. And she showed me how to shoot everything from a pistol to a bigger gun to, the machine gun to the whole bloody thing. And I said, wow. And that is my only experience with guns.
So you just reminded me that another thing that we made part of the Safe Iraq, the gun bill, was an amendment that I had that the House required in their bill that it was mandatory that for you to get your LTC, your license to carry, you had to take a live fire training class.
Sounds like a good idea.
Well, it does sound like a good idea, but there's a lot of issues that have to be resolved before you can implement that. Do we have enough ranges?
Oh,
What's the liability? Who's going to teach it? What weapons are you taught to fire? So
Right.
we passed. I had an amendment
Actually,
that was
Melissa,
passed.
Melissa did that. She gave me two of the bullseyes that I had done, where I actually had managed to put a bullet through one of the paper targets. And she said, "There it is, Dad. There's your one."
So basically,
That's a great idea.
No,
Let people shoot a gun before they buy it.
it is. Most people now, when they get their LTC, they take a 3-hour class. They learn the laws. They may get to hold a gun. There are some classes that actually let you fire
Okay,
a weapon.
fire a gun.
So but there are
It's like
issues.
getting an automobile license without
Yes, taught how to drive a gun.
without having somebody see if
So-
you can drive.
But our concern was the cost.
Yeah. Okay.
Everyone has a Second Amendment right to the license to carry. So, but you can't price it out of range for those people.
I see. Okay.
So you got to look at the cost. You got to look at, do we have enough ranges? Who's going to certify the instructors? You can use maintain the same instructor system they have now, but you have to look at that, the liability of it. So we actually, amendment I filed actually creates a commission task force to actually look at all these issues.
Good idea.
So-
Good idea. Good
so,
idea. Figure it all out.
Right.
Okay, we have to turn to something else because we only got a minute left, and it is, what is it you just said?
Well, actually, so we get healthy. Also, I was actually named to the governor's artificial intelligence task force.
Okay.
So we're going to be studying artificial intelligence.
Okay, AI.
AI.
Okay.
And the other thing was the Healthy Youth Act. That's
yeah.
for sex education.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's age appropriate.
Yeah.
Parents can opt out. School
And
has to present the curriculum.
What is
So
the statute in 30 seconds?
it provides mandatory sex education,
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
unless the parent opts out.
Yeah. Always got to let them opt out.
Yes.
Our bishop would have everybody opt out, but that's for discussion for another day. Hey, folks, thanks so much for viewing us. I hope that we'll be able to do this more regularly. My fault, not our senators, who's doing a magnificent job. Thank you so much again for viewing, and we will see you the next time.